Good morning, everyone. We are going to start the meeting for HATC. Before I get started, I just want to say Happy New Year. We hope you a very strong and productive 2024. 2023 was interesting to say the least. And I think that there have been several things that we've accomplished in 2023 and several things that we've identified that we want to accomplish in 2022. So I think we have a dynamic team, but to commend the PhD staff to all the things that we've done in 2023 and year 2020. So I would like to call the meeting to order at 9:31 a.m. And we have a lot
Chair Cheryl Brown,
present.
Vice Chair Jimmy Paver, Commissioner William Roberts, Commissioner Rebecca Weber, Commissioner Jan Winning.
Present. Yes. So we're gonna move on to the item on the agenda. We have one that's designed to speak or the comments to the boards. There anyone volunteering? So let's just go.
Yes, ma'am.
This is not allowed to
Great, so we're gonna move on to action item 3. And that is to review resolution number HATC 2024-1. And this is to adopt the revised housing trust transfer administrative plan with implementation date January 1st, 2020.
We needed to move applications, so we did think to a few reference to statement advices that we need to to certainly the board that be supporting the document and so we couldn't be doing it there, I didn't see the email and whatever, but when we go off this informing about and talking to the case and everything, something that we're doing. Well, I think it's really making with the quality of the work, it was good. So when it was A, B, and C, right, I've always thought, went, that we covered it in the meeting, or if we want to, with these things have been anyway, then we think, the PhD thing is, you can look at the ways to go down. The items working each field. So I think ministry plan was a little bit of the ministry plan is going every year. The specific was beginning to require us to restore the wireless worker so into the use. You know, we can see the thing. And I was saying, but maybe it would be not even significant for any people to and doing that for the university moving to works. We need to make the world well, I have the authority to be just that. So we're here going to they will be the interest is made or local to the moving while moving to work.
We're gonna highlight, what, are you gonna continue? Um, I know you may not know the details of their staff. Summary, from page 16, 17, 18, 22, and 23 about how we're functioning, just, overview to help the tenants with housing services, security deposits, utility deposits, moving costs, readiness services, and referrals, how, you know, just if you like sort of just like um, Game to it's a
I can't understand anything.
language about, do we have a figure, super, what we've done in the way of expenditures to help tenants with the score costs I listed? Security deposits, utility deposits, moving assistance, and what's called tenant legal service, where we maintain our past bills and, you know, raising payment scores. And these are really huge services. I'm just wondering what we're doing. You're bringing the value and we're bringing you know, it's going to bring down the line. And things. Everybody's telling songs there that. So it's just in that. So maybe I'm telling the general, so maybe we could just have some more information on that, looking for listing of the goal for 2024. After having we're getting super sad and everything that we're planning to the levels of that operation, that's student plan to do for that duration, something that's not so it's and I noticed there was one other thing too that I think that we talked about when we reviewed this back in October. And that was, Christina was gonna look into, um, maybe setting a limit in terms of what we would do for the landlord fees. Um, you know, just a dollar amount, I think. Because we were saying that, you know, we didn't want people to just arbitrarily ask for, you know, any dollar amount that they wanted to, and we wanted to create a level of care. So she took that as a to do as well, but. So, yeah, so that is something that I think, you know, we can just kind of label that, because I think we want to just where things are and make sure that we're consistent, that one, you know, we're not baked one over the other.
Right.
Yeah, just some process questions, I think is what we want. And how long have we been? So we have an expectation that we're looking on in residents and then. When you see,
You need to know now, you need what the details out there. So we really see we need to do maybe way and things that we do. But it's most really teams we have behind our with the we need to
And I know that Christie, but it's Christie that we were past, is it on the list to lab? And it's being used and the document taking some kind of girl that haven't been solved. And is that just outdated statements or is it so? Um,
needed to do related to the information for but I think we will select it's not the same as the role. I think we go and we're going to bring more hope to the release of the so it's going to be
is it something very confusing? Let's see. That's on that page, there was a change that we adopted the standard of 60% being acceptable for records. The program,
probably we wanted to
it's only some. It's the only way to do it, and it seems like it's from, I didn't, let's say it's the roots. Well, this is, I think when I had the reports back, this is something that Ann Denton really pushed us to do. If I recall correctly, that we set that target to 60%.
yeah, so this is so it's a first trade so they're making great value in the land to let's go understand it across the board. Because we might be the one and we really don't people the city using it you might have never really been it's like now we're really so maybe like making the festival. Maybe
Speak that family dynamic, households that 60% is what happens to them in their nosedive with poverty. So, like, I was in here and that's cool. Just that's part of me from 30 to 60 and households that have done that, doing and we're in that students from high opportunity and then they're even weapon because the that is
it's not even but maybe it's really things what to do there. But we aware about when we're doing one amazing or what we have experienced in this kind of thing, we're estimating the last one was to be here. We think in most cases, we will go down most people not thinking not to necessarily not all those in it, but this is thing that we won't see that even with the ability to go back to them.
yeah it's to do space and data yeah. Yes. And then in the document, just sort of between pages of 72 and 73, there's a long index of where we stand with compliance issues with this and moving to work. There's 75 separate items and there's only one that we've actually, 75. I just want to give a statement about that. We're right.
So, looking the way this one thing was so really necessarily there's no like whatever it is, someone is going, these are whatever it is, whatever things you can do with the thing. There's only no way I think it's like taking away the reason for the thing and not anything happening multiple maybe not necessarily like this, not
So we depending on the software, I can drive living quality.
so really
I'm just confused. I don't really, sorry.
The these things the new is getting at levels, we're thinking about we're planning to do this. And some of these really kind some of these BBB, like the full flexibilities, the six of the whole city. We don't use we use for
Was relevant, yeah. Maybe editing it with maybe asterisks or something like that is to understand someone doesn't. See, I'm trying to understand. Yeah, just highlight the things that are relevant to the past and where you was there. I think it ignores. Take it. Okay, good. Any other information? Oh, probably I think everything is okay. You probably data to help you stacker for retirement, like 75% of our be a reason and giving them that data and having to data we did on this. So that's one question. And on page 90, we need to create a resident evaluation room. Takes other very skills I know from friends. I just love it a lot. It's a great thing. We've got these deadlines and goals. We have goals when so that it's a big word. Not even easy to do. Like not easy. So maybe we'll be back on that piece.
We can say it is
So I think would be helpful is since it's something that we're actually having to propose, since you have an experience, we're not keeping work with. No, it's fine. I don't think I like it. I was calls the teams together. For perspective, it would be great to we want also students to different. It's trying to understand, so I think. Hey, Raymond. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? So, given that, is there a motion to approve, um, resolution HATC 202401, HATC 202402, and HATC 202403?
That's a move on.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All present approved, there are no abstentions. Okay, moving on to item 4, this is a discussion for the portfolio update. For the portfolio updates.
Yes. People really want to know how they're going to report, but we are going to say the report, but influencing very well. And you go and you go to the control, the program, as opposed to just breaking on something. So the first version would be, as you all requested, I mean, for the housing, which would be, you specifically, but you know, it was connected, right way, as we were directed to, okay, these people are never here. The people who look for them, you don't know what's supposed to do, and they come in and do it first. And they've identified a significant number of things, and I think they did, what I can do, we can play without, the game is doing was going to destroy, so, but this is going to having, and one of them is going to, yeah, that's what we want to do.
That's the time when the captain has selected them. If we give you you have a sorry, looking at property management team and so they have this in the requirement, but I didn't know we made so.
Yeah, what we really do the things, the players the same person. Because now we're going to go not to anything, what there's no find the new light and you're ready to sell out the new city, we're going to compare to what is us and the value of hanging the is the new city. You know, you feel like the region work. It's quite detailed. It's really clearly diagnosed the beginning of the document, years, different key areas. So I can see the also been following this study. It's very easy.
Legal rights, they take their legal time. You know,
For information, for example, we have a few messages. See if we can give you the name or you're looking at the skills that make it requirement in the differences of cities. And then determine if they so. And the plans to get the use of the approved, given the community, but then you really made it, like, to relate to something like, it's, I think why that's what I do is, not to do. And so, when I was doing it, when I using the right beats, yeah. Then we're gonna do. These 70% of like these having some hearing issues, they can't really hear what's being said. Definitely was probably You just live there and then you can move it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is he? Is he on Zoom? Yes. Yes. Maybe I like it, we got the 13 here. Where are you doing today, John?
This is Larry. I can't tell if y'all are calling on us or not. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Is there a chat box where you can write a question? Yes.
I don't do it now.
You can hear me? I saw something on the chat.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. I heard a yes. That's positive. Sorry, I've got three people in different rooms on different devices, and none of us can make out what's really going on there. But let me give you an overview of the portfolio quickly, and I'll try to answer questions if I can make them out. But we haven't had an opportunity to present prior, really. So I'd like to really give you, in a nutshell, kind of where we started and where we are. So when we came in the door, initially, we thought the big issues were going to be occupancy, collections, and delinquency. It didn't take us long to figure out that that was the least of our issues there. Compliance became the major issue. And when I say compliance, what we discovered a few months into our due diligence was that we had a number of issues relative to residents not being recertified in up to 15 months or more, which meant that they didn't really know what their rent should be. And we had a number of residents that had come in and requested recertification based on a status, a change in household status, meaning they lost a job or somebody moved in or moved out, and those residents weren't accommodated either. So they really didn't know what their rent was going to be. As we went further into it, we recognized, as I said, that none of the residents had been recertified. At the Summit Oaks and Alexander Oaks, my compliance director discovered in early November that there were a number of people, and I want to say 33 to 35, that were living on site at those two properties that were not listed in HUD track systems, so they weren't certified by HUD. They weren't receiving any subsidy. So we had to go through a process, and we worked with the HATC team to determine how best to correct those issues, because leasing in an environment where you really don't know what the rent should be. And when I say that, there's another compliance issue. Are you familiar with OCAFs?
Say the word again.
Are you OCAFs? What it is annually you submit an operating cost rent adjustment to HUD, primarily on your RAD units. So that hadn't been done since 2021. So 2022 and 2023 had not been submitted. So now at Summit and Alexander, we have compounded issues. The residents had not been recertified. They weren't in the HUD system. They weren't actually qualified for RAD, as they weren't certified by HUD. And we hadn't done the research, so we really didn't know what the rent should be at that point in time. So we got with HATC, the staff, and we determined the best thing to do was bring in a third party to conduct 100% of the recertifications and do it very, very quickly. They came in right before the Thanksgiving holiday, and they finished up, I want to say the 19th or 20th of December. So we got that piece completed, which is allowing us now to move forward and start leasing units on those assets. So we have leased at Summit and Alexander 6 units. We've got 3 applications pending. We haven't had any issues. At Eastern, we leased 1. We're having some trouble at that property relative to reputation at this point. And we're trying to determine how best to overcome that. And if you're looking at the reports, you can see that we have a number of residents at the sites, primarily Eastern, Summit, and Alexander, that have not complied with the requirement to recertify, or they've been found otherwise non-compliant. So we're trying to work with those residents to see if we can't get them to come in and follow the process. If they can't, then we'll be issuing notices to vacate to those people. So we're at the point where we think we'll stabilize going into the first part of 2024. We'll know what we have there. Residents will know what their rent is supposed to be. They do know now, and we'll be able to start leasing those units. I should say as well, we had an issue with the wait list. I don't know if you're familiar with the wait list process, but for those units at Eastern and Summit Oaks and Alexander Oaks, doesn't include Manor or Carson, we have to put them on a wait list, and we have to go through that wait list person by person. When we came in the door, the wait list was not well established. So we didn't have good contact information for a lot of the folk that were on the list. Maybe we'd have an email address, but we wouldn't have a mailing address. We wouldn't have a phone number. So it was difficult to contact folk, or we may have a mailing address and nothing else, and they may have moved. But in that process, you have to notify that resident that you have a unit available, and you have to give them, and I don't have my compliance persons on the line, but I want to say 10+ days to respond before you can go to the next resident and offer that unit. So we worked with HATC and Carlos. We purged that wait list. We got it straightened out and cleaned up. So now we're moving through that and expediting things a little quicker. So as you can see, and as I suggested back at the beginning of the presentation, the occupancy issue was the least of our issues coming into the takeover management on the property. And a lot of that had to do with the COVID slide. This is probably one of the worst I've seen in the portfolio. But it was significant, as you can understand.
You question? That's all I'm looking for. She's not. Yes.
I'm having trouble hearing. I can't make anything out.
Okay, so for the most part, we've identified the areas that we're gonna concentrate on in the next 30 days. Right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's
and
accurate.
so, it's important that we have these actions noted so that we can improve upon the areas where we were weak, last year. So, simple things like, cleaning up the waiting list and, making sure that people know, I mean, all of those things that were noticed. I think that's kind of. So we can add this report wasn't, I was having. I know, I can't find it in my email, yeah. Um. So. Right.
You want me to send it directly to your email?
Thank you so much. So at this point, what we need to do is just, next month, when we have a 30-day, um, goal that we've set, that we go back through this again and see what else it is that we need to do. And to make sure that we understand, we're actually following the process that we've established to address some of the issues as we know.
So. You think what's the one thing is missing here? Not only giving us analysis of the last 6 months, and then the one around, or you know, you are going to realize that the state is really, and look at you see, yeah, this one you have to review, one of the reasons you can go to interpretation, beginning of July, you know, the big main thing we do, Lord, like, realize, like, you go out, that kind of thing, so you really have to folks to listen, so, knowing the things that you have to do, the things that you, we want to realize, all those things. You know, we're doing the thing, everything, we're doing the wrong thing, we're doing well, like, do I have to look at the, you know, these things that you do, not to, well, we think the person, the point you there and not really need to do it, even if you do that sort of thing, so, you know, really things running around, you know, really doing things, making things around, things, going to stay in quality, with products, and things like that. But the risk is really, I think, I mean, of it. I mean, it's a place that's not necessarily buying. And we're doing it on another thing, so silly. What's we're gonna try to work from them from like, this is December 20th or still in the, third weekend, like, don't believe in all of these things. It's such a good place for doing it. Very good things. Not with the best of the things we did in the certifications at the time. That was the place of work that is so. If we hate to be, important, okay.
Yeah, I just want to follow on about it. So remembering responsibilities and functions and activities and having our certification and like what's and things that happen. Um, and I would like to ask for analysis, not just thinking, but where, what was my like one thing in that time, and what caused it, where was the monitoring, or was there a cyber, was there a victim, I mean, the whole now, the whole victim, oh, any other comments? Anything you want, anything further you want to address to consequently?
Or does he have anything more to report about? This is interesting.
Okay. All right, with that, we will, thank you so much for the presentation, and we look forward to addressing this again next month. Sure. So, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, later. When you see me in the books, then when I'm done, we need it. Maybe you can say it on to them on that.
People read it, and use them, thinking it was from seven, once in the east,
Saying that,
which I found.
see when I'm just doing, do that, it's expired, and this one, I understand.
I this time.
So what I do, budget comes is resolved. What's wrong with you? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just the camera, so we get done. Then it's everything you posted on, it's for which line item, you say the same. Thank you. Some on the only issue on the process of this one, there's some of that. Cost. Even stated in financials. Yeah, where they said they made money. Are you saying the tenants who stated in their financials, or maybe they didn't?
Patience. You know.
There's some-
We talked. So when you go to so treatment searching and real collaborating was needed to real collaborate for the
So, thank you.
see. Information resume without getting out planning or bring all of this.
So they were thinking. So the resolution where he says we expect, um. Yeah, this issue to be resolved by 12/31. How was it resolved?
We did a recent invitation, so now we have the full and want to be appropriate in the project for. Particularly, I want to be in that, so as well.
And we'll know more about that when Price comes back with the recent commission analysis with positive system. Thank you. Any other discussions? Here's anything, to explain into it. You know, we unexpected, difficulties and just professionally in it. Working the problem side, let's think of the point when it was needed, I just think that was well done. Thanks so much, Mr. Fraser, for the presentation. There's no other discussion, we'll move on to item 5, which is the regular agenda, and it's the election of officers. So, Mr. Howard, how would you like to proceed with?
You will tell me for the jail. And I call you when you can access the movement. Thank you, the right there. If you're the big and you don't actually have to vote, then you accept this late.
So we'll start with HATC. And You would like to nominate Jenny Page?
Did you?
Yes. Accepted nomination.
I don't have a reason to accept something. Well, initially, they say they have a we turn out for it. Well, more than okay. Still have it. We have, but
Actions for chair. Nancy. Are there any other nominations for chair? Nancy. Are there any other nominations for chair? Nancy. There are none. Mr. David's the chair. Nancy. Accept vice chair position. Nancy. Are there any other nominations? Vice chair.
Nominate Miss Brown. Well, if she's out there saying, this, any other one. Any other nominations? Any other nominations?
There. So moving on to. Yes. So based on the votes, the nominations that were rendered. Mr. Hager is now the chair, HATC. And Michelle Brown is the vice chair.
Then five, the unity committee and some others. We know what to do now, something. Seems to difference here. Okay. So. This thing to make my formal nomination for. Okay, see for, the first meeting is the quality of life committee. And, I'd like to nominate, Director Walter Roberts and Director Glenn Renee for this committee.
Yeah.
The next meeting, you need to have to. Not necessarily. Okay, so we can just like. For everyone. For everyone. So. The second meeting is the Human Resources Committee. I'd like to nominate, Vice Chair Phil Brown and myself to serve on this committee. Director Jimmy Bell.
He was interested in the other team. I did too. I'm not reviewing it from that chair because they didn't mention you, but it's gonna be okay.
I don't want to say you guys. Real estate committee. This nomination is, myself, Director Jimmy Carroll, and, Director Rebecca Webb for real estate. The ethics committee. I'd like to nominate Director John Lee and Vice Chair Cheryl Webb.
Accept.
The meetings committee, I would like to, elect, Director Rebecca Weber and, Director Dan. No, last in front, which is the foundation committee. I would like to elect, George Jaminet and myself, Chair Diddy.
What is that called again?
So, he's fixing it,
Say my name. Yeah, that's fine.
Since, you know, unfinished business. There's oh, the movements, the little, everything's in the things. The final, yeah. Yeah. But the things about, you know, this year and something we're gonna be able to help see, um, and one of the, it's goals.
Did you send it to me? No.
You know, maybe something. So, nothing will be made we're cleaning. One of the cases was the way that the previous the meeting was getting a little bit longer, the dues and their planning, and then moving on with the previous meeting. So essentially I think it's something that going to continue having cleaning and moving forward with some right. Right. So I mean, this is just some thoughts I had about such. Okay. And just more things than well, basically what you're suggesting is you have 3 minutes or please. So just yes, even if you're doing that, so I just some kind the maybe 20, maybe probably some focus and focus and yes, so these ideas we will be receiving or we can people to come in and speak to us about such. And then another reason um, and so, we're nothing to realize, I think I'm the one that it's changing, it's this thing should be doing information, we're gonna be looking at something like the player that is the leasing, and the leasing, and in addition to getting back to you all, I did the mix, everyone's know the mix is um, we information used to get you look at know what the building can do. I think we're gonna have really information. So we keep moving, we're moving, we're lining, we're moving. We can possibly maybe not be meeting, I'll have a really clear and maybe do a video and also people that wouldn't come on with the meeting too. And then them so yeah, we just need to say okay, we can fill up the calculator and just the phone process that you can either do through or you will be aware to and you so and the work in the share on this. This is like when you look at the page and it's elevates up, like, only you look at the first 3, you look them out, see how it plays out. But then you realize, when you extend it, you can, I'm gonna stop. But, there it is.
No. my thought is with some of the things that we have faced, I think over the last 3 months, I think that it makes sense for us to do something on a regular basis to help help strengthen the, the knowledge and, behavior, of this board. And I just think that we need to look at, specific topics that we can actually grow and learn about. So we're not stumbling and falling all over ourselves and, we're conducting ourselves.
Yeah, procedurally,
It's,
everybody can probably use a system on that.
yes,
So the few things next month, this is, we want to have an extension of this month, if we die, since there's some, also things that like covered. And we're looking at the front and things that make money for you guys. I mean, for the good part for the board. I think we're gonna vote for it. I need to have a minister and procedural rule of the board. Anything else about the border?
I think that's gonna be, but then it's,
You guys are doing the thing with the you need to get a real, like, precise answer on forums online, etc. I mean, because I feel one thing's definitive and it's not, I just like for this to all be really clear with where that is. When we convene, when we go vote, if we need to, if we're not gonna vote, friends that. Yeah, no, whatever, no. There's one going. Okay. Okay. Any other concerns?
you just don't like that. My, this is really different. I'm so sorry. Watching in the film, I still feeling that I continue to find the way. I don't understand science as well. And can say, I'm very vulnerability. I think it's part of getting it. I was so fighting. Meaning that I tried to, brief on this. Just wrap this. I'll try to wrap. Just gonna have a dance party.
Are we good? Okay, so anyway, trying to get those notes was an unbelievable chore. Miss Honeycutt tried, but she sent me the agenda again. It was like 100 pages long. Anyway, if we could like kind of do an analysis of all the process issues that happened around that, and then how the resolutions that were held in the meeting that was on a forum ended up posted on the website. And although I understand our ED's explanation of the workaround that we can ratify resolutions later, I think we do have a process thing here, and I really want to endorse great process so we can all feel like we know where we're going and how to get there. So thank you, Chair, for already hitting that unfinished business. Also, at the time, I'd asked for the governance committee to go ahead and maybe look into it and report back. And one of our unfinished business things are the report back process. We don't really have going very well. And at that time, Madam Chair said she wasn't sure who was on the governance committee. Another issue, maybe strengthening and getting more robust committee reporting processes. And that leads me to the second unfinished business item in my list for the year, and looking forward is a real process improvement on annual ED performance evaluation process. And so just to indicate what's unfinished about this, in 2022, as a brand new board member, I participated reviewing the annual material. The satisfaction survey, which I found very helpful, and I sent down to continue 2023. This name, that's signal to the wrong government. So I'm going to so, and this one is giving, you know, specific stuff in the brain. To the day, doing house with people from your friend. This new scenario, space, Thanksgiving. Look at it, was suddenly, and it's found, we had a new schedule. So partly, you know, want to have a deadline in spring. And do we want to have more than just around the spring? Great questions. These are pretty. One, also, midway through, fiscal year 2023, I just that maybe we also do enough. Something that I guess is like going down. Where you go, and where your progress, the values, the planning, system, plus everybody I participated on designers and the past and checked out to do next. One of research the climate time that maybe we're not gonna do that, we would like it to come into consider it. And on this something was this starting like that. That's what I was looking at indeed, and then about the evaluations were completed, so we have to select the producers coming to the board and speaking, and letters being attached to a meeting from now I know about soliciting statements and support of performance of our committee. I think stuff on so I asked him, like, did you reveal you guys said maybe. I don't know who this did, like, I would like clarity email addresses to be created. And when you created, checking the, I think that's the email addresses coming from this, I was really excited about this community coverage of the public service. Something sees it comes, whether I see them coming or not. And instead, I was, like, email from statements from strangers I didn't know, speaking about, letting this serving this job, and I didn't even know where that, plane came from. It must have been the solicitation of the remarks that Mr. Hammer asked for the job for this. You're gonna have to do this job. That damage this, reputation, you can see, sorry, that's poorly on the staff. Relationship. So many of that. This is like maybe I'm trying to get with scouting and kind of praying so that the annual year yes, which is really done every year second. And so I'm using Texas both like and then this is very like the fourth employees the right to have an attorney and the planning employment matters. You definitely have and you not have to dictate to your employment in your 2020 meeting. Yeah, this is really good. So I really have done in the beginning with this was buying some of the services really conversation everything and I'm still looking to get hopefully so I'm not having a numbers we can release to maybe other things like hiring firms. We have an assistant policy and
And we was going anonymously, or not everybody we means of data with the scoring of the EG. And I was again thinking back and from what was I and I'm trying to find the answer to the floor, because I saw it was something that one. We did, and that was giving me the really news. Sorry, so it's getting back right in the whichever way goes, I'm used to doing this on my coalitions. It's usually having score that's provided to the public, and score. Then I was on the news and I'm saying he's looking into that. The piece of food between the appointees. There were so many inconsistencies now. We realized that considering business laws of the world, guarantees for any bodies failing within a local agreement, that consistently increase themselves, or sequence of business and scale. There's something we do cancel so that maybe you guys are we'd like to use that to review and recognize the videos on our so just discuss them, understanding of that. We know that leaders really follow things, and maybe I don't think that. I mean, they're in my own, we're going to go to the right side and everything. Systems get so I really looked at the law as a city that we can decide you want to use my site, you know, we don't have to get consistent. So many years about the same staff advancement and advancement of new positions. And it's typically the same thing, building, and staff management. Last year, we did experience turnover issues, and in the organization that I've been a leader in the past, we almost sitting reviews, how we expect that that's what's going on here. We think the results of the consider reviews, so we can continuously to improve whole staff advancement and staff retention, and that kind of goes to staff employee satisfaction survey. But this is the issue with the whole, because we don't have it, I when I don't put it on. It's quite so maybe about see it. So I'm just going to see that's the meaning of the right and the way it's at the board. Community and the movements we've managed to experience some bridges of reforms that we can so. And if you got for something really, you know, I'm gonna be able to so we really like to have that we be regular meetings in this area, anybody that can get out of agenda, and you're getting into that how do we consistent, how do we get this? And finally, I'm going to process for real numbers. What are the pretty meetings on that? For how you get more numbers to be, I struggle with the student information and I would like to be planning with science and I'm still from the for you. And some violence and and it's not like each side. Well, so let's be a let me say something. Let's ask them to maybe that's because I do get use this thing and he just believes so then system like society available to maybe pursuing my own universities and I think the surroundings to These was for you together, and I don't really think of it. And some subject about word and just readings, you know, it's to be really good now. The funny thing is that my community is a area for people have like talking mechanism to see if we get that report back on the items that we haven't been able to like one time doing the limited time active in sessions and things. We could get on with the hundred and for the community. There was some I knew that I think even things that we can spend into times. To see 2024 process of identifying weaknesses, being related to processes and self-criticism, and learning those mistakes that I want to learn about. That's my opinion. Right. Um, because I think that a lot of what was said, points back to some of the things that I was over. And I believe that, you know, there are a number of things that surely that we can improve upon as we move forward. There were a lot of things that were driven that created some of the change in the way that we operated. One of the things that I think that is critical to the operations of HATC is the increased the increased number of incidences that occurred on the SHFC board that were brought into the HATC board. And I'll give you a prime example. One of the examples was having email addresses. That was something that was done on the SHFC board, and there's a consistency of this happened here, therefore it should happen here. And so I think that a lot of the issues that were created because there was a blurred line between one board versus the other board. What happens over here is brought, you know, what's happening over there is brought over here. So the consternation that was created there, it was a reason, right? And I saw that it happened quite often. As a matter of fact, the incident that was surrounding the change of the committee members for the HR committee, that happened because there was an incident that occurred on SHFC where there were issues between the three board members that were overlapping that created issues on this board where the member, Mr. Wilbur, who was a member of the HR committee, said it would be best that I not be involved because there were issues that happened on the SHFC side that made him hesitant to even be involved in that whole process. So in the middle of the work activity that was supposed to come to do the evaluation, there had to be a shift made, which thankfully Mr. Peter stepped up and said, yes, I can do this if this was something that needed to be done. So where we were looking at the actual process itself, and Mr. Wilmer Roberts was planning to lead the HR activity, we had to do a shift. So that was one of the things that I think, again, the residue of what happened on the SHFC side that was brought into the HATC environment. I think that the hostility that I have seen and I've witnessed on SHFC was brought into HATC. And so the attacks, statements made and allegations made about something being criminal or something being fraudulent, that's the behavior that I saw and I witnessed within SHFC, well, as well as HATC. I have been on this board for almost 2 years, and there were two incidences. We never operated that way before. But because of some of the hostility that was created on that side, it was brought here. The other thing that I witnessed in this whole process was that there was not a clear delineation between the work efforts and the tasks that were associated with the vaccine, and it being separated from what was done in SHFC. So I continue to see, and I think that, in my opinion, I think that there needs to be a clear separation between the board members on the SHFC board and the HATC board. So I look at it, and to me, when positions are taken and allegations are made where someone is accused of creating fraud or doing something that is intentionally criminal, I find that to be a defamation of character that I am not going to be involved in. So my job here, we are all volunteers. I am looking to this board to improve its process that is for certain. I am looking for a process that is not one that is biased or prejudiced. And we've all heard things that people have said. And I think that it is incumbent upon us to not share third party things that say he said is very unprofessional. Like, so to make a statement to say from such and such, such and such, and such and such, and such and such, I think that's very immature. I think that it's very unprofessional, and I think it should be left on the environment. And so that is one of the reasons why me, I think that it is incumbent upon us to have professional training, and that is something that I had requested of Mr. Patrick to do, Mr. Howard to do, right? That we bring that in to your board meeting so that we can be better board leaders in implementing what it is that we're doing. So that is that's my input. I do think that there's some things that could be done from an HR perspective so that there's clarity. But I will say that when I looked at the reason why we did not go into executive session from an evaluation perspective is that that decision is left up to the executive director. He has a choice. His choice could be, I want to do this publicly, and I think that it is very ironic that you have some board members that feel that some things should be done publicly, but there's discretion as what you want, as to what you want to do in executive session. But in that particular incident, that particular situation, it was 100% the input of the executive director. That is his choice as to whether he wants something done publicly or if he wants something done. And at that particular point in time, his choice was to do it publicly, right? So if you're looking for a level of consistency, that is an area that may never be consistent because it is the decision of the executive director as to what he wants done publicly and private. So I will leave it at that, and I will take, I think from a HR meeting perspective, some of the things that you mentioned is something that we will take under advisement as we move forward.
Thank you. I just want to say a couple of things. Jan, first of all, with everything that you suggested, I'd love to have in writing. Because there information, with the information with the people. Meetings of the HATC members board, and I think we have two of the state time. With this board has oversight to and on board. And will they moving forward, I do think there are offering forward things that we should have oversight on. That I am. I'm gonna think everything to get bogged down in all of the minutiae, the details, the parliamentary order, et cetera. We're gonna do this to improve on what happened last year, and we're gonna do it as a group of members. Is there any other new on things? This is the thing, and I was going, like, you should want to, you know, we can do anything. Yeah. Now, for, wondering if it will be differently, period, so, but it will be, so let's just expect that so I don't want to be, and you know, maybe something maybe before that. One more will be understanding, but it is mistake one time. And the goal and the request was to cover, the issues related to, workforce housing. And the work of the PFC, and those are, so that's essentially what's being done. So is that really important in the report for you? Yes. Okay.
Will we see that before the meeting? You're right. And then the TCFC report, so we see.
But I think the other night, you know, around the road, I wanted to go, that's still a good. Now, the thing is, I'm not saying, you know, what I'm doing is going to go through. But again, so no one can really use, but we have to, but we will take my, all that to do.
Right, thank you.
And then same reason I was. So we will go through the listeners, trainings, and figuring out. You know, for you to think about it, you break the year, you know, what the general heavy needs. Several things. So I'm interested in the three other items that let's go ahead and see to voice. But it's not the right example. Okay, and then even in the executive session, we need to go into the records. Here, item eight, is our movement to adjourn.
So,
So, all of them, what's not?